I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't really control my toots all the time. Like, one might slip out at any minute. It might have just slipped out. I'm really sorry about that. So, dating's been fun in my 20s, right? I never know on a first date when I might just let one rip, so. The other thing about dating in your 20s that's been difficult for me is just having these hands. They're massive. And I always would just get worried when I was in my 20s, like, I didn't want to hold hands with a guy because I was like, oh no, he's gonna notice. My hands are bigger than his. And I felt bad. I'd make him feel bad for having small hands. I just realized that there's something more important that he's worried about looking small. So let me bring your attention to this microphone. Sir, look at the microphone. It's pretty bad, right? Like, you can hardly see it. If I wanted to, I could just make it disappear. So I didn't know this for a while, but it makes sense now why I was single for most of my 20s. And I finally convinced a man to date me last year. We're still going strong. That my hands would be an issue, but in reality, they've not been a problem at all. And so he's really not even mentioned it, but ma'am, I'd like to bring your attention to this microphone. It's pretty good, right? I think so too. But this, another reason why I hate being a woman today is because I have to decide my priorities. Do I want a career? Do I want a kid? Do I want both? It's hard, right? It's one thing that modern women have to deal with today. And I've always thought I would have kids eventually, not right now. I'm in my let's try stand-up comedy phase of life. Let me convince my boyfriend to date me because even though I have large hands and a leaky ass, we just we're not talking about kids quite yet, but I figured I would eventually have kids at some point in my life until I just found out that the peak fertility age for women is 21 years old. Ladies, do we know that? I just found that out. And, no one really talks to you about your peak fertility age until it's rapidly declining. When I was 21, all I was thinking about was being able to legally black out and not have to use my fake ID anymore. My little fertile eggs were inside of me just damn, yeah, Kate knows how to party. She really can pound the booze in these fallopian tubes. And then one egg was kind of smart, was shouldn't we be doing something more important right now? And all the other was shut up, Jessica, we're having fun. And Jessica's no, but seriously, where's all the sperm, girls? And they're yeah, where is the sperm? I'm there it is in her stomach. But this is not about the first time I swallowed, okay? This is about female fertility. And no one, I'm pretty naive to it, so I've been thinking about how crazy it is. All these women in America are trying to get pregnant, and all of our uteruses are at totally different stages of their, uterus lifespan, which I like to think of in dog years. For one human year, your uterus is already 7 years down the line, so some of them are pretty old. But I've envisioned it as a D1 collegiate track and field meet, right? Where all the uterus are lined up on the starting line, and the finish line is having a kid. And you got all the colleges represented. So you have University of Miami, she's puking. Oh, but hey, Miami, you're puking on the starting line because you're too drunk and high to even really compete. People are she'd be a bad mother. And then you have Harvard next to her. She's 41. She already knows she's behind, so she's just straight shooting up IVF. She's I gotta do what I can to get across that finish line. I don't care if I'm first, I just wanna make it there. Next to her, there's an empty space. Arizona State was supposed to be there, but she decided to terminate her position in the race because she just didn't think it was for her. And who beat all of them? None other than Brigham Young University. She's already made 5 laps around that track.